one time. It's the family bloodline.
Know if it needs to be stronger, and so that's definitely like one of my major keys to getting a better record. And then when you finally have your hook and your pre-hook done, then you do the verses and finish the record. So, but yeah, that's basically my process.
I'm gonna have to switch up the way I write songs now.
There you go.
You have actually kind of answered most of my questions, but what do you hope the listeners actually take away from your creation, from your music, and sonically and lyrically? Because obviously you're a songwriter as well.
I hope that when they listen to something I've done, the thing that they take away is that not everything has to sound the same. That's like my number one thing is music has changed a lot. And so like when I was growing up, if you were doing what someone else was doing, they called you a biter.
Right.
And now if you're not doing what someone else is doing, you're not relevant anymore. You're not current, you know.
That's so weird, huh?
It's crazy. I mean, it's kind of like if you listen to hip hop back in the day, you know, all the rappers were the drug dealers, and now all the rappers are the customers.
Ah.
You know,
Yeah.
but if you think about it, it's true.
Oh my God.
They're all talking about like, I'm on this drug, I'm on that drug. You know.
Wow, that is so true, man. I had not thought about that.
Yeah. So I mean, it just changed a lot, and so I just feel like the reason why we love the classic records, like from the early 2000s and before, is because everything was different. Like the reason Timbaland was so great, the reason Pharrell is so great, the reason that all these amazing producers are so great is because when you wanted that sound, you went to those people.
He gave you those sound, exactly.
Yeah, like nobody was doing stuff that sounded like the
You already knew who that was.
Everybody, man,
signature sounds.
Yeah, like you went to the Neptunes, they gave you shit that was, like nobody else could do. Everyone knew who did it. You know, I mean, Trackmasters and Tim and Bob and Ray and Vidal, you know, Timbaland, like all these people, like, man. But now producers have to have their tags on the beats because otherwise no one would know who did them.
Wow, that is a super statement, bro. That is a super statement. I had not thought about this like that. I mean, in the last couple of years since I was done with school, which I mean, shout out to my alma mater in Florida, Full Sail. I learned, but I didn't learn. Where we actually learn is at places like NAM, in the studio, like you have for the last 20 years. You know, it's an amazing thing how things has changed, you know, from theory to practice. And I see that the producers nowadays in the music it seems like they stayed in the theory. They haven't had any practice. You know, they just in the same loop. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the new hip hop or whatever, if that's called hip hop. You know, I don't, if it's not boom bap, I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because that's what actually really, you know, gets you bopping for real. But now, like you said, the customers, we're listening from the customer.
It went from the hustlers to the customers.
Man, that is so funny, man.
If I ever hear someone say that, they better credit me.
Oh yeah,
for real. No one else say that.
I haven't. Yeah.
Now we got it on record. But no, it's true, man. And like I love music. Like I'm not in this because you know, it's easy, because it's not. It never gets easier.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, it would be nice to see everyone kind of do something different, you know. And there are certain people who do things that are different. I mean, I'm a massive Bruno Mars fan.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Bruno Mars.
Oh my God.
Love Bruno Mars.
I would
And
say
it's because he's different.
because
Everything, every records you hear, it's
It makes you,
something new.
yeah, it
Fresh.
makes you want to. It
No,
make you want to go
nothing.
get a cigarette and look at your wife and tell her, "Hey, I'm finna go
Hey.
sit outside for a second. Don't bother me. You take the kids inside, damn it. Otherwise, I might beat you." Not literally, but it just puts you in that kind of like, you know, back an old school type of feel to it. It's got an old school type of feel to it, and I dig it.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
I love it. I love it. So after all those changes, Keith, now you are going into the more entrepreneuring, because you know music is entrepreneuring and everything that you've done is entrepreneuring. But how this new opportunity and I
hold
would
on, Primo. Hold on, Alto. So,
you got questions. You got
yeah,
questions. Go ahead.
before we push forward, because I am absolutely excited to get into your next venture. I think it's huge. I
Okay.
think it's huge and world changing. But the question I have for you is, how have you maintained your edge throughout the ever changing landscape that you're working in? Because nothing's static in your career field. You know, there's a lot of ebb and flow. There's a lot of overturn. There's a lot of quick names, and then they fade back out. So how have you been able to keep your stick to itiveness in the business, as it were?
Man, I mean, I would have to credit the people around me, because it's at the point where I work on so much music that in the car I don't even listen unless my daughter is in the car and I'm trying to, like, you know, play songs that I want her to know. Like, I don't really listen to a lot of music these days because I'm checking, you know, mixes and records in the car when I'm in there. So I don't listen to a lot of the new music as much as I want to. And I mean, between spending the kind of hours in the studio that I do and parenting and, you know, my new venture, it doesn't leave a lot of time for a lot of those things. So I do rely pretty heavily on, like, a lot of the people that I know and that I work with to kind of give me the rundown. I mean, I would say, man, like, what really helps is, like, people like Corte Ellis, who he's one of my closest friends, but he's also my manager. And you know, he's, God bless that man, because he's probably brought me more opportunities than anyone I've ever met in the music industry ever. I mean, I can trace back most of the biggest things that I've done especially in recent years to Corte. I met him actually through Timbaland, like, back in the day, and we just, you know, he's been like this amazing blessing. But yeah, like, a lot of the time, you know, he definitely he helps me to kind of hear things a certain way. But I feel like, you know, when you know music, it you're adaptable. You know, it's different when you don't have references to pull from, because there's nothing new going on right now. Like, everything that's going on right now is all a different version of something that was before it.
Remakes.
Yeah. I mean, shit, trap music used to be called Dirty South, and they just changed the name.
Absolutely.
You know? So, you know, and the only difference between Dirty South and trap music is that trap music uses like 3 different snares. You know.
You know what's funny though? I did not know trap was trap until I actually moved to the States 10 years ago, because trap to me in Puerto Rico was like a house music.
Oh,
it was more in the house, like techno stuff. So when I came here and then I was listening like especially in 2015, 16, when all the Latinos came out with a trap, Anuel, Bad Bunny, and all these people, I was like, what the hell are they singing? That's not trap. I was like, okay, So to me, that's impressive. I didn't even know it was called Dirty South.
Yeah.
I do remember when. So the trap that you're talking about, Manny, I used to listen to also. Plastic. There was a Sarah McLachlan album that was done by. It was a Plastic album.
Sarah McLachlan is gangster.
I love Sarah McLachlan to death. I don't care what anybody says.
Me too. Hey, me too. I love everything. Like,
I was seeing Sarah McLachlan at karaoke, falsetto, and rock.
It was just funny because you brought her up in the same sentence as Dirty South and trap music. That was amazing.
Like I'm like quiet as it's kept. I am a musician through and through. I absolutely love music. I've sang Brahms from Brahms, AC/DC, Brian McKnight to ZZ Top. Right? Anything and any and everything in between, except for bluegrass. I won't fuck with bluegrass. I don't care what anybody does or says. That's a genre that I just can't get with. It hurts my soul.
Your beard's just not long enough.
You don't. You gotta be hunting some ducks.
Hey man, I can't. Like I used to work. I was a bouncer many moons ago, relatively speaking, at when I used to live in Texas. And the place I bounced at was a country western hip hop bar. And that's where I began to get a real keen ear for country music. All right. And then of course Chuck Berry, St. Louis, born and raised St. Louis. So we've got a thing for him out in University City. So, but actually listening to country music, I didn't really get into it until I lived in Texas and I was a bouncer at a place. But as a kid growing up in choir, trying to get close to my current lady, who was my high school sweetheart, and we had a 20-year gap. We sang in choir. We sang in choir together. But I also played trumpet. And so I played trumpet since fifth grade. Actually, yeah, fourth or fifth grade. I can't remember. And then, grew up in church. My parents are ministers, pastors. So I don't really have much of a choice but to be able to sing or play an instrument, so on and so forth. So absolutely love music, except for bluegrass. So Sarah McLachlan, I will drop a Sarah McLachlan verse any given day, any given time. As a matter of fact, I was listening to one of her songs not too long ago, Stupid, because I love the drums in it. I love the way they just flutter through that. So anyhow, you made me forget my point. Now I'm thinking about Sarah McLachlan. She jumped up. Oh, trap. We were talking about trap. So when I was in college, trap it had a different look, and it was in the same realm as like DJ Tiesto or I'm trying to think of another one that I used to listen to a lot. But those types of genres, right? So that's why I can understand why you would say the techno aspect of it, because there was a trap genre that was
within it.
Melded onto that. Yeah, it was melded onto that. But I was also really big into Outkast. I was really big into Goody Mob. I used to like a little bit of Pastor Troy. I was into that also from the Midwest. So we heard it all, right? From Twister and the Speeding Out Mobsters to Poe Pimpin', all those guys, Bone Thugs. Was a Bone Thug fanatic. Love Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? So
I listened to Crossroads so many times. I learned the lyrics and I gave up, and I just was like the whole time.
Yeah.
I knew some of them.
Yeah.
Other than I miss my Uncle Charles.
That's it. You go.
That was it. Oh my God, Bone Thugs.
Yeah, Bone Thugs. So all of that, and like you were saying, we were able to recognize a specific. Not just a specific group, but a specific style, depending on where it came from regionally, right? We knew what West Coast music sounded like. We knew what East Coast music sounded like, especially when you started talking about, even when it came to styles, right? With the whole Wu-Tang, you would know who was finna get on the mic or who was on the mic between the GZA, the RZA, Inspector Deck, Ghostface, all of that. You would know who was on the mic because of the style that they had. But now, like you were saying, bro, everybody got the same slurred mumble. I-
Oh, I think I know that song.
right. It's hard for me to pick it up because it's I'm not saying it's not music, but it's not fluid. It's not, the landscape isn't changing. Everybody looks the same. The colors look the same. They're not the colors aren't vivid with it anymore. So it's hard to recognize and identify as it being something that it used to be, unfortunately. So yeah, but trap, yeah, I used to be in both traps. Both traps. I used to walk around campus listening to Sarah McLachlan, Plastic, Delirium. That's who it was, Delirium. I would walk around my campus listening to Delirium, and then as things progressed, and like I was caught off guard because they was like, "Nah, this trap drill." I was like, "Huh? What? Yeah. When did I get that over? How did that?"
That drill, when drill came out too, and that was strictly underground for a few years until Pop Smoke made it just rain down for reals.
From my recollection, it started in the UK before
it got
here. Yeah,
it did.
And then like Chicago had a huge insurgence of drill.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it kind of found its way to other pockets. Yeah.
Then
I mean, I like drill. Drill, it's not that easy. I mean, me also as a songwriter, it's not easy to write onto it. I mean, at least it's not my expertise, you know, but it feels like it's sort of different, at least. You know, in certain musically, it's different because it has to do a lot the waves on the bass lines and everything. Then the rhythm, you know, the hi-hat rhythm, it's different. But now again, when it comes to singing, everybody wants to sing the same way.
Yeah, no.
So that's when you're killing a genre that can evolve into something better because you want to sound the same.
Yeah, evolution is
genre doesn't mean, you know, like for example, let's say salsa. All the salsa is different. And you listen to all the singers sing different.
Shout out to Elvis Crespo.
To who?
Elvis Crespo.
Oh, Elvis Crespo. That's merengue.
That's too much.
Man, you tell it suavemente.
Hey, I will go. I hop up for no reason.
You know, talking about different genres that you worked on, what are those genres that you prefer or you enjoy yourself working on?
Damn. I'm gonna get murdered by clients. So I'm not gonna say what my least favorite stuff is to work on, but honestly, like, I love pop music because it allows you to be the most creative. And the thing is, like, people think pop is always bubblegum. It's not. It's popular. So you know, I think there's a beauty to the formula of making a pop record because there is a formula to it, but it's the way you disguise that, you know, to make it dope and new and fresh so that people don't realize that there's a formula to it and it just feels really fluid from start to finish. But I love Latin music, man. I love it. Like I don't even speak Spanish, but I love it. Like it's some of the most fun music to work on. Shoot, lately I've been working on this gospel album and it's dope. There's a gospel group called Sincere, and they're dope, man. Like one of my really close friends is James Wright, who's like the producer for the group and kind of like their main guy who, you know, like spearheads the whole thing. And I mean, and they're like a Grammy nominated group and they're amazingly talented. I mean, the vocals from Brian and I mean, and Levi's amazing and they're phenomenal. I mean, that they're all amazing. And like the stuff that they're doing is like, it's real music, but it's like, it's still catchy and like, I love working on that. But I love working on like stuff like Honey Baby. Like I do all of Honey Baby's stuff, and I mean she's dope. Like she's super dope. I love her personality. I love the records. It's also great because like my guy K-Mac, who she signed to, he's like he's awesome to deal with and work with, and and it's great that I have so much respect for him because it makes it just an even better process. So I mean, as far as genres go, I mean, shoot, I love working on Disney ballads. Like,
Wow.
Have you worked on some Disney ballads?
Yeah, I mean, like I just did one with Jamie, not like for Disney, but it's like that genre,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing that stuff, the orchestral arrangements and all this stuff. Like, I love doing that. And I mean, I grew up on like a really wide variety of music. I mean, shit. One day it was Gangsta's Paradise, the next day it was Manhattan Transfer. I mean, like it was like
Yeah.
tunes. Like another opening
I
album.
can relate.
Like,
Definitely.
but I mean, like in my house, if you heard James Brown, my dad was cleaning the house every time.
A show.
Every time.
Okay.
Like there was no time that James Brown was playing, except when I asked to listen to it, that my dad wasn't cleaning the house. And that's how I knew. Don't bother me.
When my dad played Barry White, I knew I had to put my headphones on.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, he grew up. When he was listening to Barry White, he's like, one day, this is what
I got to put my headphones on to go to sleep.
Oh.
And there were no canceling headphones back then.
No, he just wanted. He always said like, one day, this is what I want my co-host to sound like. And he got his wish, man. Like it was great.
There.
Oh my God, bro.
So before we push forward, and we're on the cusp of getting to the premiere, the creme de la creme, right? We're on the cusp of it. I promise. But before we can't move past this space without you shouting out your crew, the people that you're working with right now. You gotta give them some looks. You gotta shout your folks out, man, because that's what it's about.
Man, I always do that anyway. I kind of did that through this whole segment. Oh man, Corey Irvin, musical genius. Camilo Valandia, musical genius. Jamie Aaron, musical freaking amazing everything. Corte Ellis. Who else? Hang on, let me go through my phone and make sure I don't miss anybody. Jeez, this is like not. This is not the time to forget someone.
And this is gonna be the time where everybody sees it too.
Right.
I know.
Hold up. Did he say me? Did he say?
Right? Yeah. I'm literally just going down my favorites list right now because these are all my people. Josh Marshall, Langston Massengale. We'll talk about him in the next segment.
Yeah,
Rob Roy, Matt Weiss, Felipe Teixeira, Dale Becker, my guy Kings, so many people, Dre Harris, Jerome Harmon, like
all love for everybody else.
It goes on and on. So don't kill him if he didn't mention you. He still love you.
If I didn't mention you, just chalk it up to the fact that my brain is not working properly these days with this much sleep.
Hey, welcome to adulting, right? Because I think that's how I go to sleep at lunch. Like I leave my classroom because I'm an instructor, and I go and sit in my car, and I'll call my lady, and then I go to sleep. I sleep minutes, and then I'll go back to work. All right, now, so for the moment that Manny and I have been talking about for a minute, we've been just talking it up and like waiting, creeping on the come up, trying to figure it all out patiently, very, very patiently, knowing that you, your crew, your family, you're about to change the face of the audio, the microphone, game. Let's get into Circle Audio. Let's get into it and give us everything that you want everybody to know about it. Let's hit it. Let's hit it.
Okay. Circle Audio. So this is my new venture. It actually came out of frustration that I always have these great artists that send me sessions and the vocals don't sound good. And I have to do so much work to get them to a starting point. And it just didn't make sense to me that you could have all these great artists and they all have these limitations on how good they're able to sound. And luckily I met Langston Massingale, and I mean, he's a genius, this guy. I feel like before all is said and done, he'll be recognized as one of the greatest inventors and audio equipment designers probably of all time.
Wow.
Because he just does so much innovative stuff. And really, like, my mission statement for this was I want to shake shit up. To me, I was just passionate about people being able to have microphones that are actually going to give them great vocals every time, that are hard to make sound bad rather than hard to make sound good. And for me, it was like, that was the goal. And I didn't want to just make these accessible to like the upper echelon major label artists and biggest producers. I wanted these to be affordable for everyone. To me, margin was not the motivator here. To me, the motivator was making a difference in the sonics of records. No one's career ever lasts forever. One day I'm gonna have to retire because my ears won't be the same.
Sure.
And so what am I leaving behind that makes a difference like after I'm gone? And
a legacy.
Yeah, and Circle Audio is that. These are the best mics in the world. And I'm not saying that, like as a I'm not saying that as like a an exaggeration of any kind. I mean, literally, I am shooting these mics out on a regular basis, going studio to studio and shooting these out with the original legendary versions of these mics. And they're not even coming close to mine, to Circle Audio. I mean, and it's crazy because you would think, like, if these are the reigning champs for 50, 70, 80 years, like there's gotta be, there's gotta be some sort of exaggeration there, but there's not. And these are not clones. These are better versions of the originals. I probably shouldn't be saying it like that, but it's my opinion. And it's
a revamp.
Yeah. And it's so far the opinions of really anyone and everyone who's heard them. And so, like, I mean, when someone says I'll bet the house on it, like, I literally would bet the house on it. I mean, and I stand behind that. And shootout after shootout, and I do these totally blind. Not one person has ever picked the originals. And so in some cases you have $40,000 microphones, and the MSRP on Circle Audio on the Evo series, which is the first line of microphones that we're dropping, they're $1,800 or $1,799. And so